righty. Hi there. How are you all? All right. So same sort of deal as last time. I'm gonna basically hang out, see if anyone shows, get to answer their questions if they have questions. Otherwise, I'm gonna do a little bit of nice card, mean card editing. So either way, good use of my time. Hello. So ask away if you have a question. And 3 people. 4 people. Alrighty, ask away. Ask me anything. More than more than happy to answer. Well, good. Well, good. Yeah, I think we got a lot closer to understanding everything that is going on. I think the couple extra things you told me was some of the missing piece of the puzzle. So it's really up to him to figure out what he wants. So, alrighty. So if anyone has a question, more than happy to answer. Otherwise, I'm going to do nice card, mean card editing, and I'll stop on a dime if anyone has questions. Okay, so doing read aloud editing until someone has a question. Alrighty then. So where was I? Okay, so chapter 5, positive and negative. So if you're following along, I defined the cards and I talked about the most simple interaction. When did I do this last? Tuesday. Talking about the interaction between what happens when people are playing the nice card and the mean card. So now we're on to the topic of the positive and negative. So here we go. Part of the problem of being too nice is all things being equal. Part of the problem of being too nice is all things being equal, you'd much rather be playing nice cards than mean cards. How does that read? Part of the problem of being too nice is, let's take out all things being equal. Let's take that out. Part of the problem being too nice is you'd much rather be playing nice cards than mean cards. That's better. This is because generally positive people naturally like playing nice cards. To them, playing a nice card can feel good and they enjoy it, but playing even appropriate mean cards can feel draining. To them, playing a nice card can feel good and they enjoy it. I need a comma. But playing even appropriate mean cards can feel draining. The mistake is to follow your feelings too much and jump to believing positive equals nice and negative equals mean. The mistake is to follow your feelings too much and jump to not believing, thinking. Thinking is better. The mistake is to follow your feelings too much and jump to thinking positive equals nice and negative equals mean. It can feel like it should be true, but it's not true at all. Nice cards and mean cards can either be, can either be, not be either. Nice cards and mean cards can be either positive or negative. Here comes the twist. When it comes down to any one interaction, positive and negative doesn't matter at all. You can play a nice card for positive reasons or negative reasons. It's still just a nice card. You can play a mean card for positive reasons or negative reasons. It's still just a mean card. The only thing that matters is whether a card is nice or mean. Positive or negative doesn't change the outcome. If you remember from last chapter, we can figure out exactly who ends up cooking dinner based on how the nice card and mean cards played out. If I say husband mean and wife nice, we immediately know it's the wife who cooks dinner. If I say husband mean and wife nice, we immediately know it's the wife who cooks dinner that night. Last chapter didn't even mention positive negative because it doesn't change who ends up cooking. Another example. If your kid wants a cookie, you can either play a nice card and say yes, or a mean card and say no. You can say yes because you're consciously rewarding their earlier good behavior. You can say yes because you want them to like you and you hate feeling like a mean mommy. You can say no because they've already had enough cookies today. You can say no because you're grumpy and it's the last cookie and you want it for yourself. It doesn't matter why you played a nice card or a mean card because the outcome is the same either way. Comma, if you play a nice card, the kid gets a cookie. If you play a mean card, the kid doesn't get a cookie. Being positive or negative only added a little extra context. It didn't affect whether the kid got a cookie or not. Believing being positive or negative matters for a single interaction is an understandable mistake. It's true that generally positive people are more agreeable and tend to enjoy playing nice cards. It's also true that generally negative people are more disagreeable and tend to play more mean cards. It's absolutely true that positive people are easier to be in a relationship with, than negative people. However, while all of this is true, it's only true as a generalization spread over thousands of interactions. For any single interaction, the only thing that matters is nice card or mean card. So for now, worrying about whether a card is positive or negative is a giant red herring. Stop worrying about how you feel and concentrate on doing what is right. I promise you'll feel better. That was good. And chapter 6, the nice autopilot hackers. Earlier I said for 98% of all interactions, being nice was completely fine. I said you could walk around all day. I need a comma. Walk around all day. I said you could walk around all day using the in public nice autopilot and nothing bad would happen to you. I said you could walk around all day using the in public nice autopilot and nothing bad would happen. Yeah, let's just take out the to you. If everyone has a good in public nice autopilot from it, oh, well, that makes no sense. If everyone has a good in public nice autopilot, I take out the from. Okay, if everyone has a good in public nice autopilot, I don't even need the word good. If everyone has an in public nice autopilot, it would be great from society's point of view. Everything would run smoothly without drama. And that's a full stop, not a comma. Everything would run smoothly without drama, without crime, and everyone would tip their hats and say good day to everyone they meet. Everyone would show up to work on time, the sun would shine more, and French fries would always be served hot. The autopilot is a very good thing for that 98%, but it's that other 2%, that should be changed. Okay. Autopilot is a very good thing for that 98%, but it's that other 2% where things really matter. Being willing to play mean cards is your only defense for that 2%, where other people could take advantage of you. Stating the obvious, If you use the autopilot, and I should say nice autopilot, if you use the nice autopilot for any of that 2%, you're going to lose. Now, if other people could convince you to keep the autopilot on just for them, they'd get a free win out of you. So they try hacking your autopilot to believe that 98.1% of the time being nice is the moral thing to do. That 0.1% difference, of course, that's you disabling your mean card just for them. They would be a special exception, except dozens of people and hundreds of companies, agencies, and social groups all try and hack your autopilot this way. Everyone wants to be the special exception that gets you to disable your mean card. You'll know exactly when there's a hacking attempt because the praise or shame bombers will be flying overhead. Anytime someone hits you with strong praise or shame, they want you to do what they want, feel what they want, or think what they want. So some examples of praise. Buy my Girl Scout cookies. You're wonderful. Thank you so much for donating. The world needs more people like you. Come over here and help me with my project. You're just so smart. You would be my hero if you did my oil change for me. We really appreciate your support of the team by letting someone else play more minutes than you. Some examples of shaming. How dare you say no? Look what you've done to your mother. You are selfish not to help us out. How can you look at a full trash can and do nothing? An engagement ring should be worth 2 months of your salary. Without you coming this Saturday, the team will fail and everyone has put in so much effort. And the simplest one of all, man up. We all grow up in an environment where we're told to be nice and see some consequences for people not being nice enough. We all grow up in an environment. I don't know if we need an environment. We all grow up in an environment. And we all grow up being told to be nice. We all grow up being told to be nice and see some consequences for people not being nice enough. We all grow up being told to be nice. And take out the sum. We all grow up being told to be nice and see consequences for not being nice enough. As far as society is concerned, all this social programming is a good thing, and it really is a good thing. But the combination of the nice autopilot, praise, and shame can leave you as an individual without even a sense of having a mean card to play. Thankfully, just knowing about all of this is good enough to help. Thankfully, just knowing about all this is enough, can help. No, is enough. Thankfully, just knowing about all this can help start reactivating your mean card for the important 2%. Thankfully, just knowing about all this can not start reactivating, just reactivate and help reactivate. Whoop, reactivate. Thankfully, just knowing all that, and take out the about. Thankfully, just knowing all this can help reactivate your mean card for the important 2%. For some of you, though, it goes a lot deeper than the autopilot, praise, and shame. For some of you, it's like your mean card is just completely gone, torn from you like an angel losing their wings, which means we need to go back, way back. Okay, chapter 7. How do people lose their mean cards? If you've ever experienced a 2-year-old, they know they come preloaded with a good, strong mean card. 2-year-olds are good at saying no, they don't want something. No way, no how. So if you had a mean card when you were 2 and no ability to play mean cards now, that means something happened to you. Somewhere along the way, you lost your mean card. Like I said in the last chapter, some of the reason you could have no mean card is basic socialization to be nice. Everyone has some personal stake in keeping others agreeable and well behaved. But even then, basic socialization encourages saying no to things that are generally obnoxious or abusive. Even then, basic socialization encourages saying no. But even then, basic socialization encourages saying no to. But even then, basic socialization encourages saying no to the genuinely obnoxious or abusive. You're not meant to just passively take a beating. The deeper cause is usually awful childhood experiences from trying to play mean cards. You said no, and it happened to you anyway. Not only that, but trying to say no made things worse. You got even more of what you didn't want, over and over and over. Eventually, you give up saying no and resolve to run a strategy of playing a nice card every time. All you can do is hope that the people running the show don't punish you for that too. When you're a little kid, you can't stand up to your parents. The big people are always in charge. So when you say no, they can often find a way to push you into turning it into a yes. So when they say no, so when you say no, they can often find a way to, when you say no, they can often find a way to force you. I don't know. Mm, So when you say no, they can often find a way to. They can often find a way to make you say yes. So when you say no, they can often find a way to. Yeah, tune it to. There we go. So when you say no, they can often find a way to turn it into a yes. Some of this is normal childhood stuff, standing firm on bedtimes or chores, or refusing not to cook a completely different dinner to please a picky eater is good. Some of this is normal childhood stuff, like some of this is normal childhood stuff, like standing firm on bedtimes, chores, on bedtimes or chores. There we go. Okay, some of this is normal childhood stuff, like standing firm on bedtimes or chores. Refusing refusing to cook a completely different dinner to just to please a picky eater is good parenting. There we go. Refusing to cook a completely different dinner just to please a picky eater is good parenting. Okay, how did that read? When you're a little kid, you can't stand up to your parents. The big people are always in charge. So when you say no, they can often find a way to turn it into a yes. Some of this is normal childhood stuff, like standing firm on bedtimes or chores. Refusing to cook a completely different dinner just to please a picky eater is good parenting. Much smoother. But there are situations and experiences kids can genuinely hate and be repeatedly forced into accepting. But there are situations and experiences kids can genuinely hate and be repeatedly forced into accepting. Plus, there's also the possibility of straight up abuse. Whatever the combination is, it all slowly adds up to a situation where you decide, I'm not going to play the mean card because it doesn't work and I'm just getting in worse trouble. I'll just be nice, keep my head down, and try not to be noticed. This happens to a lot of people. If this is describing you, understand you're not crazy for being this way. If saying no made the situation worse, it's unsurprising you stopped saying no. Trying to use the mean card as a kid was a failing strategy, so it was perfectly rational to throw your mean card away. The problem is the coping as a kid strategy sticks with you and creates trouble as an adult. You react to unthreatening adult situations like you're a threatened kid. You're worried about standing up for yourself now because something happened when you were 6 years old. Or everyone was horrible to or everyone was horrible to you as a teenager, but at age 40, you're still hiding in every social situation like you're a mouse in a world of cats. That's a little bit. Or everyone was horrible to you as a teenager, but at age 40, you're still hiding from social situations. Everyone was horrible to you as a teenager, but at age 40, you're still hiding from social situations. You feel like you're a mouse. Yeah, there we go. Or everyone was horrible to you as a teenager, but at age 40, you're still hiding it from social situations. Full stops. You feel like you're a mouse in a world of cats. Much better. Here's some other examples of a rational kid strategy turning into a problem adult strategy. You had alcoholic parents with each day random and potentially explosive. So you learn fast to never escalate a conflict. 30 years later, you're still stuck on avoiding conflict at all costs. You grew up in a divorced family with one parent AWOL and the other smothering you like their substitute spouse. You had to meet the adult needs of one parent while not getting your needs met from either of them. Now, when your relationships start to deepen, you struggle with feeling smothered and the temptation to go AWOL yourself. Yourself needs to be in there. You didn't have a dad, you had a father. Cold, angry, commanding, judgmental, and always disapproving. You were to be seen and not heard, and ideally not even seen. Now, as an adult, you can never really tell your husband what's bothering you. You were raised with a tyrant of a mother screaming about how horrible men were, directly implying you're a man too, so you're horrible as well. You were careful to always be a perfectly inoffensive boy to avoid her shaming. Now, as an adult, you're stuck on doing your best not to be a horrible man. TM. Despite hating being in the friend zone with women, you sabotage every relationship to ensure you return there. Return there, stay there. You stay there. Despite hating being in the friend zone with women, you sabotage every relationship to ensure you stay there. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure many reading this book have had some significant childhood issues to work through, but this book is about making a change in your strategy. I'm in no way trying to minimize the pain of those moments that created your broken adult strategies. I'm just trying to get you better aware of your nice autopilot programming. Please do get the help you need from counselors, etc. But in practical terms, your core problem is reclaiming your mean card. If childhood stuff is ruining your life, you owe it to yourself to try standing up for yourself as an adult. You were powerless then, but you're far more powerful now. The truth is, you should stand up for yourself and push back a little. It's not going to be as bad or difficult as you might imagine. If nothing else, the True Nice strategy is failing you, so you may as well try something else. Okay. Alrighty. That was chapter 7. Okay, chapter 8. How do people lose their nice cards? Thanks, Maddie. Yeah, I'm finding it a really, really interesting experience reading it aloud. Things that make perfect sense written down, as soon as you read it aloud, it's like, 2 out of 3 sentences are really good, and then you get this clunky one. It and then when you correct it, it flows much smoother. Alrighty, so chapter 8, how do people lose their nice cards? Everyone should have learned the nice card before they learned the mean card around age 2. Yep. For a 2-year-old, discovering and flexing the mean card is a new experience, but it's also the counterpoint to everything else they've experienced up until then. If they have even halfway attentive parents, babies should grow up in a wonderful bubble of everyone being nice to them. In a wonderful bubble, comma. If they have even halfway attentive parents, babies should grow up in a wonderful bubble of everyone being nice to them. We're also a very social species, so there's no doubt some DNA hardwiring for nice cards at work here too. So if the nice card should be learned by default if the nice card should be learned by default very early on, why do some people seem to completely lack nice cards at all? There are 3 basic reasons for this. The first is learning that being a mean card jerk is a winning strategy. The second is learning that being a nice card victim is a losing strategy. The third possibility is some people just seem wired to be horrible. So, learning the jerk strategy. Now, bear in mind, I'm not saying being a jerk really is a winning strategy. I'm saying that's what they learned is a winning strategy. They learned early on that saying no, having a tantrum, screaming and yelling gets them excellent results. They play giant mean cards on mom, and the disgusting broccoli disappears, and wonderful French fries take its place. They want their brother's toy, so they take it, and after the shouting dies down, they've still got the toy. Or if they didn't win, they make sure the toy broke so their brother knows to just hand it over the next time. And be assured, there will be a next time. They meant to clean their room, put the laundry in the hamper. They straight up ignore it all, and mommy maid service comes in, tidies the room, and delivers clean laundry anyway. They learn they don't have to do anything if they make a stink about it. They learn that if mom says no to something, dad can say yes. Or if dad says no, mom might say yes. They learn you can ignore the first mean card and go shopping for a nice card. They only need one parent to play a nice card and say yes to get them authorized access to the cookie jar. More troubling is once they discover lying, they can lie about having received a nice card and go directly for what they want. They can tell dad that mom said yes, or tell mom that dad said yes, and by the time mom and dad talk, the getaway tricycle is escaping the scene of the crime. If everyone else is too nice, they learn playing a mean card means they win every time. They get the things they want, and all the yucky stuff goes away. They get to do the fun stuff and pass on the boring stuff. Sure, people will be upset at them, but nothing of consequence happens. So not only does the mean card work, it works amazingly well for them. And after a while, their nice card just withers away from lack of use. So second one, learning nice cards are dangerous. Last chapter, we talk about kids learning they couldn't stop bad things from happening to them. The mean card does nothing but make it worse, so they go all in on the nice card. They go silent and walk on eggshells, hoping the bad things won't happen to them. For them, it works. Now imagine a situation so bad that any kind of compliance or lack of retaliation just pegged you as an easier target for the really bad things. Or put another way, when you try and play nice cards and not attract attention, that's what the Department of Really Bad Things is on the lookout for. That's what gets you specially selected for extra nasty mean cards. Plus, the Department of Really Bad Things doesn't just play extra nasty mean cards. No, that would be too obvious. They can have some extra sweet, nice cards dangling out in front of you, too. They're just begging for you to let your guard down and re engage with a nice card of your own. Though it's all to bait you into a situation where the extra nasty, mean cards come out to play. So not only do they learn that playing a nice card makes things worse for them, other people's nice cards might be traps. Faced with that scenario, it's completely unsurprising that the default for everything is the mean card. It's not that they are jerks, it's that they never want to be hurt again. And some people are just horrible. I'm an optimistic person, and it's taken me decades to accept that some people are just horrible and there's no clear reason for it. They often look exactly the same as the jerks, or they can tell you the story that makes them sound exactly like the people who got badly hurt. They often look exactly the same as the jerks, or they often look exactly the same as the jerks. They can. Okay. They often look exactly the same as the jerks, or tell you the story that makes them seem makes them sound like the take out the exactly. They often look exactly the same as the jerks, or tell you the story that makes them sound like the people who got badly hurt. Sometimes they bounce between looking like a jerk or a victim so quickly and smoothly it's unsettling. Jerk, comma, or a victim. Sometimes they bounce between looking like a jerk or a victim so quickly and smoothly it's unsettling. There's often a quiet little sense that something isn't quite right about them, though. The difference between them and the jerks is that the jerks can slowly learn they need to respect you. Jerks can slowly learn playing nice cards is part of being in a good relationship. Same way, the badly hurt types can slowly learn to trust you better and not freak out so much. They can slowly learn they need the nice card, if only to deal with you. That should be italics, if only to deal with you. The horrible people, though, they can flip a nice card out as needed without even blinking. The truth is, the horrible people could do a better job of writing this book than I could. They know all the rules and use misdirection like a magician. When the ace of mean reaches the top of the deck, they deal you the second from top king of nice without missing a beat. They win, you lose, and you won't even know why it happened. Just that it seems to happen a lot. Happen an awful lot. When the ace of mean reaches the top of the deck, they deal you the second from top king of nice without missing a beat. They win, you lose, and you won't even know why it happened. Just that it seems to happen an awful lot. As I said earlier, I'm not exactly sure why the horrible people are the horrible people. Maybe it's genetic, maybe it's been the victim of endless abuse, maybe it's lead poisoning. Whatever the reason, though, they seem to get enjoyment out of playing mean cards, which is super creepy. Alrighty. Chapter 9. Why bad relationships last so long. Let's see what happens when a person from chapter 7 is in a relationship with someone from chapter 8. So, someone without a mean card in a relationship with someone without a nice card. For the sake of argument, we'll assume the husband has no nice card and the wife has no mean card. Now let's look at that who cooks dinner matrix as a starting point. You see it channels the four possible outcomes. You'll see it channels the four possible outcomes into a single standard outcome. So if the choice is him nice, her nice, it's non applicable because he has no nice card. So that one's ruled out. Him nice, her mean is also non applicable. He has no nice card and she has no mean card. If it's him mean, her nice, whatever the couple's interactions are, somehow it ends with her in the kitchen and him doing whatever he wants to do. She works, he gets task avoidance. If it's him mean and her mean, it's not applicable because she has no mean card. Because he has no nice card and she has no mean card, every interaction they have follows the same script. He's mean about cooking. He's mean about chores. He's mean about the finances. He's mean about the kids. He's mean about dealing with both sets of grandparents. She's barely going to breathe as she mass produces nice cards just to try and keep up with everything. Even if she did try and put up a fight, she would fold every time because she has no mean card. And just to be clear, the exact opposite scenario happens as well. I've talked with dozens of men who report they do all the chores, earn an income, deal with the worst of the kid issues, and forever walk on eggshells around their endlessly brooding and hysterical wife. The stories they tell all follow this cookie cutter script of him not having a mean card and her not having a nice card. Looking at it from the outside, these one sided relationships seem embarrassingly bad for the too nice person. So, why do they get in relationships with the mean people? And why don't they just leave them when they figure it out? The ugly truth is, the too nice people and the always mean people are often drawn to each other. It's like they both walk around with antenna on their heads broadcasting, I'm too nice and I'm always mean, trying to find each other. They can have a sixth sense where they belong together, not in spite of it being bad, but because it's bad in just the right way. They need each other to play out the script of too nice and always mean. Ironically, these relationships can often be very stable. When one is always nice and the other is always mean, nothing much changes from day to day. The relationship may be predictably bad, but it is predictable. Their script has very clearly defined roles and expectations compared to the happy chaos of good. Their script has very clearly defined roles and expectations compared to the happy chaos of a good relationship. Most good relationships have major highs and lows, they just average more magical moments than fights. While the too nice with always mean couple can just get into a rhythm of unhappily grinding out the years together. Common scripts and tactics. Let's talk about some of the common traits and scripted tactics used by the too nice and the always mean. The first is the always mean people learn to become amazingly skilled at being unpleasant to deal with. When someone has the insolence to say no to them, the mean card person explodes at them. They drench them in an acid rain of negativity, drowning out any thought of saying no to them in the future. This is also a tactic the jerks and bullies from last chapter use. If they can become so horrible to deal with, sometimes people will give them what they want just to try and end the interaction. If they can become so horrible to deal with, sometimes people will give them what will. Some people will give them what they want just to try and end the interaction. Even people who play mean cards can groan inwardly and play a nice card just to end it. For the jerk, this feels like they are winning. The downside being that after getting known as obnoxious, people start avoiding them. The downside being that after getting known as being obnoxious, people start avoiding them. A lot of people will fold once and play a nice card, but then utterly refuse to engage with them, which means the always mean must be on constant missions to find the too nice people who will tolerate them. The always mean people get especially vicious when someone plays a mean card on them. They only have a mean card, so all they can do is increase how mean they are. They double down and go to war because it often works, and that's the only move they know anyway. Or they know anyway. Or putting it. They double down and go to war because it often works, and that's the only move they know. And that's the only move they know. Take up the anyway. That's the only move they know. Putting it another way, jerks often only have two relationship skills. So putting it another way, jerks only have no jerks. Put another way, jerks only have. Well, putting it another way, jerks only have two relationship skills. One, being a jerk, and two, being a much bigger jerk. Well, putting it another way, jerks only have two relationship skills: being a jerk and being a much bigger jerk. Jerks and bullies only value you because you're stuck on the too nice strategy. As soon as you start pushing back and they can no longer exploit you, these relationships often end suddenly. If you're a gazelle and they're a lion, they're only interested in you because they can prey on you. Relationship talks between a gazelle and a lion just annoy the lion. You have to stop being a gazelle. If you quit being prey entirely, they'll ghost you to go looking for new victims. On the flip side, when two nice people play their own game to keep the relationship stable, they Jedi mind trick themselves with endless rationalizations that everything will be fine. They tell themselves all of this is just a big misunderstanding. Their partner really does care about them. Now is not the right time to do anything about it. Things are mostly good. While not rinsing off the plates before putting them in the dishwasher doesn't deserve getting yelled at, their partner has been under a lot of stress lately. So it's best to take the high road and not make a fuss about it. On the flip side, two nice people. Boom, boom, boom. Let me read that again. On the flip side, the two nice people play their own game to keep the relationship stable. They Jedi mind trick themselves with endless rationalizations that everything will be fine. They tell themselves all of this is just a big misunderstanding. The partner really does care about them. Now is not the right time to do anything about it. Things are mostly good. While not rinsing off the plates before putting them in the dishwasher doesn't deserve getting yelled at. Their partner has been under a lot of stress lately, so it's best to take the high road and not make a fuss about it. The level of self-delusion and personal misdirection two nice people do in relationships is sometimes truly staggering. When talking about the relationship to others, they omit the red flag events. They smile and change the topic if others probe too deep about how unhappy they look. If they told the truth, their friends would be shocked. I've routinely had people ask me, so there's this thing I'm tolerating and I'm not sure if it's bad or not. And then they tell me something utterly horrific. I telex that. They already know it's bad. They're just struggling to escape their own misdirection. It's like they've been gaslighting themselves. Gaslighting. Let's assume you're the too nice one in a relationship with an always mean person. Gaslighting is when they keep saying you're the one that isn't nice, and that the reason they are having to play the mean card on you is that you keep playing the mean card on them. They want you to believe you're the always mean one and they're the too nice one. That way, the relationship is terrible because of you. You might have thought, I was trying to be pleasant, I was trying to be helpful, I was trying to be sociable. But the other person keeps talking about all the ways you were a terrible person to them. Well, you know you were trying to be nice to them, but they say it felt bad anyway. There was something wrong with your attitude. Somehow your tone of voice was upsetting. You made a face when you shouldn't have. You soured it all. You may be thinking, hey, I was trying to be good and helpful, but the response is, no, it felt kind of icky. I'm always having to put up with you and your thin veil of being mean to me. The point of gaslighting is to put you on the back foot. It's to make you feel bad about yourself and doubt what you contribute to the relationship. They find out your emotional buttons that made you too nice in the first place and keep pushing them. That way, you double down on being nice, try harder to please them, and generally act like a toy poodle looking for treats. That way, you double down on being nice, try even harder to please them, try even harder to please them, and generally act like a toy poodle looking for treats. Now, very importantly, gaslighting often happens unconsciously. They aren't always purposely trying to inflict this on you. This is especially true if they lost their nice card by being victimized, as discussed last chapter. They are so used to being the victim, they constantly fear you must have mean cards just lurking to get them. They might really believe that you were playing mean cards on them, even though you weren't. They really can be that on edge. They can be that they really can be that on edge. Now add gaslighting and the self-delusion Jedi mind trick together, and you can see why people say to me, so there's this thing, and I'm not sure if it's bad or not, before describing something terrible. Mm. So now add gaslighting and the self-delusion Jedi mind trick together, and you can see why people say to me, so there's this thing, and I'm not sure if it's bad or not, before then describing something terrible. Before then describing something terrible. Who is right and who is wrong is smeared into a confusing mess. It often helps to talk to a friend outside the relationship about what's going on. If your friend reacts with shock on your behalf, it's gaslighting and or self-delusion at work. There's also another way to figure out who really is the nice one and who is the mean one. Ignore all the words, ignore all the emotions, and just look at who does most of the chores. No one needs to invent relationship drama to get extra chores. If your partner is complaining about your lack of positive intentions while endlessly taking space to relax, they're the one doing the gaslighting. And they are. There's also the control freak variant of this, where one partner does invent relationship drama to get all the chores. They hog all the chores to themselves and actively deny their partner the ability to help at all. They frame their partner as incompetent at the chores or simply does a bad job because they don't care enough, while they frame themselves as a poor martyr carrying water for everyone else, but always last in line to get a drink. They claim they are forced against their will into playing endless nice cards because everyone else purposely plays mean ones. This is a passive aggressive strategy, and we'll get to talking about this more through the book. In any case, the principle is the same. Pay less attention to all the talk and more attention to who ends up doing the chores. If you see a routine imbalance in who does them, that's your sign something is imbalanced in the relationship as a whole. As a final thought, I've also seen the dynamic where the only time the always mean person is genuinely affectionate is when the too nice person is bawling their eyes out in frustration. If you being sad makes them happy, don't expect them to care about making you happy. If you being sad makes them happy, don't expect them to care about making you happy. Okay, chapter 10, the tit for tat strategy. And this is ending up. All right, this is finishing up the introductionary bits. Chapter 10, the tit for tat strategy. Up until now, we've only been describing the problem of being too nice. Time to start talking about the solution. The tit for tat strategy tells you when to play the nice card and when to play the mean card. It's also the right time to explain where the tit for tat strategy came from. The who cooks dinner example I've used earlier in the book is based on a variant of what's known as the prisoner's dilemma and came through. This is a long sentence. The who cooks dinner example I've used earlier in the book is a variant of the who cooks dinner example I've used earlier. I don't need to say in the book. They know it's a book. They're holding a book. The who cooks dinner example I've used earlier is a variant of the prisoner's dilemma from the who cooks dinner example I've used earlier is a variant of the prisoner's dilemma from game theory psychology. The prisoner's dilemma is where two criminals are questioned separately by the police about a serious crime. They both committed the crime, but the police only have minimal evidence. The choice each criminal has is simple. One, say they didn't do anything and hope their partner does the same thing, play the nice card. Or two, confess they only witnessed the crime done by their partner, play the mean card. Okay, I need to clarify that playing the nice card and the mean card on each other. Okay, they both committed the crime, but the police only have minimal evidence. The criminals are faced with a choice to play a nice card or mean card on each other. So there we go. They both committed the crime, but the police only have minimal evidence. The criminals are faced with a choice to play a nice card or a mean card on each other. I gotta rewrite that. That's back to front. Prisoner's dilemma. The prisoner's dilemma is where two criminals they both committed the crime, but where two criminals the prisoner's dilemma is where two criminals are faced with a choice to play a nice card or a mean card on each other. They both committed the crime, but the police have minimal evidence. They are questioned separately. There we go. One of the hardest freaking paragraphs in the entire book for me to write. Okay, let's see if that flows better. The who cooks dinner example I've used earlier is a variant of the prisoner's dilemma from game theory psychology. The prisoner's dilemma is where two criminals are faced with a choice to play a nice card or a mean card on each other. They both committed the crime, but the police only have minimal evidence. They're questioned separately and can, one, say they didn't do anything and hope their partner does the same thing, the nice card, or two, confess they only witnessed the crime done by their partner. No, not confess, say their partner did the crime and they only witnessed. Okay, the who cooks dinner example I've used earlier is a variant of the prisoner's dilemma from game theory psychology. The prisoner's dilemma is where two criminals are faced with a choice to play a nice card or a mean card on each other. They both committed the crime, but the police only have minimal evidence. They are questioned separately and can, one, say they didn't do anything and hope their partner does the same thing, nice card, or two, say their partner did the crime and they only witnessed it, mean card. Thank goodness. That is the single hardest paragraph in the entire book to write. It all plays out the same as the who cooks dinner question, only the chore switches from cooking dinner to going to jail. If both play a nice card, they both get a short sentence based on what could be proven. If one played a nice card and the other a mean card, the nice card player goes to jail for a long sentence and the mean card player gets no jail time. If both play a mean card, they both go to jail for a moderate length of time. The Prisoner's Dilemma was the focus of a book by Dr. Robert Axelrod called The Evolution of Cooperation. Axelrod held a competition for AI software programs to play hundreds of rounds of Prisoner's Dilemma against each other using a scoring system for each outcome. The format was round robin, so every program played against every other program. Some of the AI were very nice, and some were very mean, and some in between. All of them playing hundreds of nice cards and mean cards on each other to find the winning strategy for long-term relationships. For a long or to find the winning strategy for a long-term relationship. Or put another way, the AI software battle was exactly the same as the who cooks dinner question played over and over, with the addition of keeping score on who ended up cooking dinner. As you might guess, all the Too Nice programs were beaten like rented pinatas. As you might guess, all the Too Nice programs were beaten like rented pinatas by the mean programs. However, the mean programs didn't win the competition. The tit for tat strategy was the winner. Ironically, tit for tat was the very simplest of all the simplest of all the AI programs. Ironically, tit for tat was the very simplest of all the AI programs with just 4 rules for interaction. These 4 rules are going to be the foundation for standing up for ourselves successfully. Rule 1, be nice by default. Your opening move is to be nice, hoping to get some sort of mutually beneficial payout. The best strategies tend to start off nice, because if you start off hostile, most other strategies decide to become increasingly hostile towards you, which forces you to be even more hostile, and then it all escalates into a fight. When you start off nice by default, more people become willing to work with you, be your friend, be in relationships, and build with you. They won't do this if you start off hostile. Personally, I like that this is the first rule because it underlines that being too nice isn't you being completely crazy. There's good reasons to be nice with people. You just also have to be willing to use the other 3 rules. Rule 2, retaliation. Retaliation means you're willing to play a mean card back when aggressive mean cards are played on you. It's your tit for their tat. When people are needlessly unpleasant to you, deny your reasonable requests, or take advantage of you, the correct response is to push back on them. Say no to them, don't give them what they want, defy them, refuse to help. This means they won't be taking advantage of you. If you can't ever retaliate, you're running a strategy to attract bullies. Being blindly nice means some people will see that as the green light to be endlessly mean to you. As a general reminder, most mean cards are not much more than you having to say no. You don't have to turn into an ogre to defend yourself. You don't have to turn into Darth Vader force choking people and tossing them aside like rag dolls. Or at least that isn't your starting point. Rule 3, resume trust. If you've retaliated on someone and they start being nice to you, you should resume trusting them to keep. No, you should resume trusting them. No, if you retaliate on someone and they start being nice to you, you should resume trusting. If you retaliate on someone and they start being nice to you, you should resume trusting them. If you retaliate on someone and they start being nice to you, you should resume. You should resume. You should resume trusting them to keep. You should resume trusting them to keep playing nice cards in the future. If you've retaliated on someone and they and they return, not start, if they return to being nice to you, you should return to playing nice cards on them. That's much simpler. If you retaliate on someone and they return to being nice to you, you should return to playing nice cards on them. You're trusting them not to play more mean cards on you, so you stop retaliating them. You resume trusting them to continue to be nice. If you've retaliated on someone and they return to being nice to you, you should return to playing nice cards on them. You resume trusting them. You I don't know if it should be resume trust. You trust them. You trust them to continue to keep being. If you've retaliated on someone and they return to being nice to you, you should return to playing nice cards on them. You trust them to keep being nice. Put another way, because they are playing nice, you go back to the nice by default rule. If you keep retaliating when they are good, now you're the bad guy playing mean cards on people playing nice cards. As a result, they'll be forced to retaliate on you, and soon it all escalates into a feud. The resume trust rule stops the feuding when people might otherwise have returned. The resume trust rule stops the feuding when people might otherwise have continued. The resume trust rule stops the feuding when people would have the resume trust rule stops the feuding as a result, they'd be forced to retaliate on you, and soon it all escalates into a feud. The resume trust rule stops the feuding, allowing people to continue being nice to each other. Continue being. The resume trust rule stops the feuding, allowing people to continue being nice with each other, to each other. Okay, say it again. Rule 3, resume trust. If you've retaliated on someone and they return to being nice to you, you should return to playing nice cards on them. You trust them to keep being nice. Put another way, because they're playing nice, you go back to the nice by default rule. If you keep retaliating when they are good, no, if you don't trust them, if you don't trust them and if you don't trust them and keep retaliating when they are good, now you're the bad guy playing mean cards on people playing nice cards. Now you're the guy. If you don't trust them and keep retaliating when they're good, now you're the bad guy. You would be, there we go. If you don't trust them and keep retaliating when they are good, now you're the bad guy. You'd be playing mean cards on people playing nice cards. As a result, they'll be forced to retaliate on you, and soon it all escalates into a feud. The resume trust rule stops the feuding, allowing people to continue being nice to each other. Rule 4, be forgiving. What being forgiving means is you don't try and even up the score. You don't say, I was nice to you 5 times, but you were nice to me 4 times, and then you were mean, so I was mean back to you, and now you're back to being nice again. But it's still not fair that I was nice 5 times and you were nice 4 times, so I need to even the score. If you hold on to resentment and try and even it up, it means at some point you're going to play aggressive, mean cards on them. And then take out the future. If you hold on to resentment and decide to if you hold on to resentment and decide to try and even it up, it means at some point you're going to play aggressive, mean cards to them, which means they must retaliate, and it's all going to go back and forth with viciousness between you. Forgiveness is hard because it accepts you're not always going to get perfect justice. It's not 100% fair, but accepting you can't make it perfectly fair is your best chance for an improved relationship. You will never be happy and content while you're trying to even up the score. Instead, you'll be restarting old feuds between you and your partner. If they've gone back to being nice and they're doing what you want, don't reopen things and start another round of viciousness at some random point in the future. Recapping. Rule 1, start off nice by default. Rule 2, retaliate if they're mean. Rule 3, if they go back to being nice, you go back to being nice. And 4, don't harbor resentment forever and have a sneaky revenge plan lurking to get them. Emotions. When we play Who Cooks Dinner, we do it tired and cranky after our commute. We're obviously not unfeeling artificial intelligence programs playing prisoner's dilemma with each other. We're not Vulcans from Star Trek. We're emotional human beings, and that adds a layer of difficulty to everything. I mean, don't reopen old feuds is blindingly obvious advice that makes perfect logical sense, but it's harder to do when you're still mad as a snake at them. While it's not a fifth rule, it's important to know that negative events carry more emotional weight and impact than positive events. If you read marriage researcher John Gottman, he is clear that it takes 5 positive interactions to balance out 1 negative interaction. In a relationship, on an emotional level, being nice 5 times balances out 1 time being mean. When I say 5 positive interactions equals 1 negative interaction, I realize it seems abstract. But if you think of it as 5 date nights equals 1 fight night, you have a sense of how much harder it is to build positive feelings and how easy it is to build negative ones. Restarting pointless feuds between you both causes havoc in romantic relationships. Also, for some of you, playing mean cards feels so emotionally horrible in the moment, you don't play them when you really need to. So you weakly play a nice card and feel bad about yourself for not playing a mean card you needed to, which is a lose-lose decision trying to avoid feeling bad. If you're going to feel bad no matter what, you might as well feel bad doing the thing you need to do. Alrighty, and that ends the introductory segment of Nice Card, Mean Card book. And I'm at 1 hour and 8 minutes. My voice is failing. So that is about it for today. If anyone watching gets to the 1 hour and 8 minute mark, God bless you. He said, and I will be doing this again next week. Next week is Thanksgiving. I will be doing this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'll be off for Thanksgiving, Thursday, and Friday. So that is the plan. Alrighty. So I don't suspect you have more questions, Manny. So good night to you. Thanks for listening in. I very much appreciate it. Even if it's just been an audience of one, it's still an audience. I do appreciate it. Okay, so okay, that is about it.